All right, y'all. Welcome to Saturday. This is an amazing episode for me because it incorporates a lot of things that I already like. First and foremost is a shrimp po' boy. But I've begun to like other things about po' boys and what it is that it takes to make a po' boy. And so today I wanted to share that with you. I mean, I think po' boys are a lot like, they're very regional, right? And so we're going to use this episode to make a shrimp po' boy using authentic ingredients that we pulled together from Louisiana, and we're going to show you how to make it. So let's go ahead and get started. Louisiana. From its iconic cities to the swamps of Acadiana, its geography is just as diverse as the people that live there. To this day, family is at the core of who we are, and one of the things we love to do is share. As a Rainy Cajun, I might be what you consider a Louisiana expat. Now living in the Seattle area, one of my missions in life has been to share my culture and introduce more people than ever to the place that I still call home. So grab your favorite beverage, find a spot to sit back and relax. The next episode begins now. All right, let's go ahead and switch over here. This is the fun part of doing live. All right, hopefully you can hear me all right. Turn off that one. Okay, perfect. Let me go ahead and change over to here. Okay, hopefully you can see me now. I can see me. Can you see me? All right. So my camera's right here, so I'm gonna look here. So my studio is an absolute disaster. We did a live shoot here in the studio this past week, and actually it's kind of hard to show you, but I was just standing on it. We have a set here, and that set was designed very specifically for this video. So I haven't quite torn everything down, but we're still making it work. So you'll see me alternate between the two cameras. And then we're going to introduce something a little bit kind of like a hybrid live. So because I don't want to take our cameras downstairs and do all this stuff, we don't have like a TV kitchen. So we went ahead and filmed everything ahead of time. Thank you to my lovely wife for making the po' boy ahead. But we did grab some video, and so I'm going to step you through exactly what it was that we used to put together the po' boy today. And then you're going to watch me eat one, which is really awesome. Okay, so the next step, I just want to circle back to the last episode. In the last episode, what we ended up doing was just kind of talking about the basic ingredients. And if you were watching the last episode, your homework was to go find some of this bread that we're going to use today, and then also any kind of other ingredients that I might have referred to. One of which is the special mayonnaise that we ended up using because we prefer it. I think it's just as good. You're talking to a veteran born and raised in New Orleans. I think this is just as good of a mayonnaise, if not better, because it adds a little bit of a difference to it that you won't get off of a Hellman's or a Blue Plate or anything like that. So we're gonna go through those ingredients again, and then I'll talk briefly about it, and then we'll go ahead and cook something up because it's already been done, and through the magic of the internet, we'll have a finished po' boy. A lot of people ask, what is a po' boy? And essentially it is a sandwich, much like a sub or a hoagie or a Philly cheesesteak. It is a sandwich, but it's uniquely in New Orleans, and it was invented, if you go by the historical records that you can find online. Matter of fact, I'm at NOLA.com right now, and it says that history has it that the po' boy was invented by the Martin brothers, Benny and Clovis, to feed striking streetcar drivers in New Orleans in 1929. According to an account on the website, the Oak Street Po' Boy Festival, Benny Martin once said, "We fed those men free of charge until the strike ended. Whenever we saw one of the striking men coming, one of us would say, 'Here comes another poor boy.'" So if you believe that folklore, that's where the term came from. And essentially, again, it's a sandwich. It's on a pistoletta or a pistolette, or there's lots of different versions you can use, but definitely sourcing your bread, like I had mentioned, and I'll talk about again some more in a minute. That is critical. So there you go. That's the history of the po' boy. So what makes it uniquely New Orleans? Well, I mean, we tend to put ingredients on there that are unique to the region. That is oysters, shrimp. And when I say shrimp, I don't mean prawns, or I don't mean stuff that's brought in from overseas. I'm talking like shrimp that you source from the Gulf. And then there's lots of ways to make some of these other protein fillings. Like next weekend, we're going to talk about doing roast beef. And roast beef, another one that's near and dear to my heart, and it's going to be another project for next weekend. But man, roast beef po' boys, there's just something about them that you can't really compare to. So whether, for me personally, whether or not it's a shrimp po' boy or roast beef po' boy, I am 100% set. So you can find po' boy shops all over the place in New Orleans, throughout Southeast Louisiana. So if you haven't had one before and you're making a trip down to Louisiana, make sure to stop at a po' boy shop, and you can usually talk to the concierge, or if you know some folks that know the area, I can always point you in the right direction. So you can ask the questions online here if you'd like, on YouTube specifically. So that's, definitely you want to make sure that when you go down, you try it. But you can make these at home, and they're really not that hard. The key is the ingredients. And I know I keep harping on the ingredients, but that's what makes this what it is. Much like the way that the cheesesteak sandwiches are made, it's a very unique way and it's distinctly Philadelphia. The po' boy is distinctly New Orleans. And one of the first things I do when I get off the plane is I go straight to the po' boy shop. And it's almost like, I don't know how to describe it, but a po' boy with some Zapp's potato chips. And if you're in the area like the Pacific Northwest, but I have a feeling other places carry it, but I know for sure World Market carries Zapp's. So Zapp's is a potato chip, and just in case you weren't wondering, or you didn't know, but the Zapp's potato chips they have one flavor I personally love called Cajun Crawtator, that kind of put them on the map. Started out in a place called Gramercy, Louisiana, and that's not too far from New Orleans. It's kind of situated between New Orleans and Baton Rouge as you go east to west, or west to east, I guess, because it's kind of equidistant between the two. But anyway, a nice little bag of Zapp's, and then if you can find yourself a soda like Barks root beer. I don't even know if they still make it, but you can make your own Pop Rouge, which was a red drink. That's has a lot of nostalgia for me. There's a lot of sodas out there now they're out there, but they're not as good. I don't even think Barks is as good as it used to be, but it is what it is. Times change. But if you can find yourself some Pop Rouge, you know what? Let me see. Now, this is one of the nice things about doing live, is that I can go, and I'm just going to go to our favorite online shopping store. Whoops. Why did I type in Pop Amazon Rouge? I don't see it up here. That's funny. I get tons of Funko dolls. So maybe we might be SOL, guys. I'm not really sure. If you do a search on Pop Rouge, you'll find it. Soda Pop Online. So it looks like there's a place called Swamp Pop Ponchatoula. Pop Rouge. Okay, this I've never seen before, but it is, of course, sold out. But I'll put a link to this anyway at the bottom. I'll just remind myself to do that. And I'll also put a link to the history of the po' boys, so you'll have that for later. Okay, so enough of me yapping. Let's talk a little bit about the process of making po' boys. So I've got a video that I've already put together, and we're gonna watch it together. And of course, you'll get my narration. And if I can stop it, or if I need to stop it, I'll stop it real quick, and we'll come back to it. So, all right, let's go to making a shrimp po' boy. Oh, and of course, if you like what you're seeing so far, please like and subscribe. That helps our channel immensely. Again, as I mentioned in a prior episode, we're not really looking to make money off of this. We really just want to have a way for people to get to know Louisiana, get to know New Orleans a little bit better. And so this is more of an educational channel than anything else. But your subscribing, your liking helps get other people in front of us, and it also helps drive the content, which, you know, I can benefit from, because if there are things that you'd like me to talk about, I'll be more than happy to. Okay, so let's go back to that video, turn that on, and you can see here some music to go behind. All right, so let me start again real quick here. I know that's, sorry if you. All right, so this is the bread from Leidenheimer Bakery in New Orleans. You cannot go with anything other than this bread. Just trust me on this. The water in New Orleans, everything else, that is what defines the po' boy, is very much that bread. So the way the water comes out, the mineral content, all that stuff, it's uniquely New Orleans. And as a result, you're not going to be able to replicate it no matter where you go, unless you somehow copy New Orleans water. And you may think, well, how can that be? I'll move this out of the way real quick. Now, how can that be? And as I had mentioned again in a prior episode, when American brewers started to try to mimic beers from certain areas of Europe, the only way that they could do it was by mimicking the water, because the water was unique to each area, and that's what defined what the beer tasted like. They didn't mess with their water all that much. It's us in the States having completely different water profiles. So if you have an English style ale, or, you know, well, I mean, we'll just go with that. The English style ale is going to be uniquely flavored because it has a certain amount of salt and mineral content in it. And it's the same thing with the po' boy bread. You definitely got to make sure that you're sourcing that bread. And again, you can get that at Alpha's in Kent if you're local to the Seattle area. If you're not, I would do a search. If you can find yourself a grocer that specializes in kind of specialty foods, you might be able to get them to get it in. I know that a nationwide purveyor does carry it. Whether or not it makes it to your city, that's something that you might have to do a little searching on. And who knows, maybe we'll start another business selling bread, because it is hard to get outside of New Orleans. Next thing is this shrimp fry. Now this is actually Louisiana shrimp fry. You can see it around here somewhere. There we go. See, Louisiana shrimp fry. And this is, I have yet to taste it. I can smell it, but I have yet to taste it. But this supposedly is the shrimp fry you want to go with when, I mean, there's all kinds of frying batters out there, but literally with this one, you just add water. So you'll see how that mixes up and what it should look like when you're doing your batter. All right, so there we go. And this is the mayo that I recommend. Now this is, it's kind of in an odd shaped bottle. This is called Kewpie. Again, I'll provide a link to that. Now this is the one thing where I kind of deviate a little bit when it comes to doing po' boys here. And the reason why is that I think this mayonnaise is the best that I've ever had. And that is, that's no joke. It's a little bit more spendy, but definitely worth every penny, in my opinion. And then, you know, just some really good canola oil, vegetable oil. Personally, I really like cottonseed oil, but cottonseed oil is hard to get outside of Louisiana, and B, it is also one of the most expensive oils out there. But especially if you're doing, hey, this will be another episode, but if you're doing beignets, it is cottonseed oil or bust. Do not use canola oil, because canola oil, before it starts to get a little bit dirty, has, at least to me, a fishy taste to it, which is okay with the shrimp. All right. So this one you can see, we got that from Trader Joe's. Here's our batter. You can see the consistency of the batter as it goes into the oil. Got about an inch of oil in a pot. And shrimp do not take very long to cook up. In fact, I would say you're probably looking at tops 5 minutes. Now you're gonna want to at some point flip them over, but then when they're this color, when they're this crisp golden color, they're done. Those look so good, and they're good size. So you definitely want to make sure that you're not going too small, but at the same time you don't want to go too large. You'll see, I think we put 7 or so shrimp on the po' boy when it was all done, but you can see that these are really nicely sized shrimp. They cooked up amazingly well, and you can see that batter is just on there enough to give it some crunchiness, and then after that, the softness inside and the juiciness inside remains, which is just, I mean, at least in my opinion, is great. So here you just you squirt on your mayo, and here this you can see with the Kewpie. We just go ahead and lay it down, and then just kind of spread it a little bit like so. Then we just lay the shrimp on top. This is super easy. Now we're gonna lay down shrimp, and then after that we're gonna lay down some shredded lettuce, and you'll see us do that. And there are 2 other ingredients you can put on po' boys I'm not a huge fan of, but you can do it. And it's actually part of the standard, and that is pickles and tomatoes as well. So here you go. The lettuce needs to be shredded. No big leaves of lettuce. You shred that lettuce down. Make a mess when you're applying that lettuce, because what we're going to do is we're going to kind of compress this down a little bit and get that lettuce wedged in to the bread. And then it's just a matter closing it up like that. You can see, just cut it in half. Again, you might have tomatoes or pickles on here as well. This is my jam here. So shrimp, lettuce, mayo, and the bread. Really simple, except there's one other additional ingredient that I'll talk about in a second that You know, some people that they talk about putting remoulade on shrimp po' boys. I don't know where that comes from, but that's a load of crap. There's no such thing as putting remoulade on a shrimp po' boy. You can do it, don't get me wrong, but as far as like what constitutes a traditional po' boy, remoulade is not a sauce that you put on it. Mayo only. All right. So that's kind of a little tour of building a shrimp po' boy. It's not that hard, as you can see. You just have to have the ability to fry up something. You're either frying up something or you're going to be cooking for a long time as you're cooking down like the pot roast. So then I'm going to switch over to the studio cam here. And we're going to try this online. Go here. All right. So here I come. I took all of 5 steps to get here, but here I am. This is the set that I was talking about. It's changed already since we did the filming, but I tried to put something together. But what I've got kind of hiding down in the corner, oops, this corner over here is, I don't know if you can see it, the po' boy. So this is the exact po' boy. Actually, this is like the last Rima video you saw was exactly this. Now, I said there's one last thing that I put on here that I really enjoy, and that is hot sauce. Not any hot sauce. You can get hot sauces all over the place. I mean, all kinds of different. If you watch, there's a bunch of YouTube channels of people eating some of the worst hot sauce I've seen on the planet. But this is the one that I go with. This is Crystal. And I like Crystal because I know this is going to sound strange, but I like it because it's not Tabasco. Get Tabasco on anything. Crystal is really good, I don't know why, on a shrimp po' boy. Better than Tabasco. So I'm going to put some of that on one side here. Alright, so you can see the hot sauce there. Got shrimp right there. There we go. And I wish I could eat these more, but obviously for health reasons you can't always be eating these. But man, these are good. These are really good. So if you get the opportunity, make yourself one of these. Make sure your the bread can be room temperature or slightly warm. Does not need to be toasted. You want the shrimp as hot as possible. The lettuce and tomato and pickle to be as hot as possible. I'm sorry, as cold as possible as well. And that blending of temperatures, textures, everything really makes this so good, so good. So one more bite and then I'll call it a show. If you have any questions, leave them on the comments, and I'll refer back to them and I'll answer them as I can. I want to thank you guys for tuning in for yet another episode 107 of the Rainy Cajun. So next week we're going to talk about doing a roast beef po' boy, so a roast beef version of what we just made, but it is going to be slightly different. And certainly the process by doing correct roast beef, and I'm not talking about beef that's been roasted and sliced up. I'm talking about the stuff that just kind of melts, that actually stews for a very long time. That's the kind of roast beef po' boy. And if you're from Louisiana, you remember what a roast beef po' boy should be. Okay, gang. Well, that's it from me. Again, leave some messages online if you have any questions for me. Please like and subscribe. That, again, goes a long way towards helping the channel kind of get off the ground a little bit, and tell your friends about it. And if you have things that you want to know more about, you can always reach out to me online, and I'll be more than happy to give you whatever information you might be looking for. So thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, whatever time it is for you, and I will see you next week.